I'd like to welcome our guests here, and I welcome all of you who join us, and say hi to those who are watching this recording. It's really a lovely evening or a day, and I just said before, I think the original author would be jealous that we are able to come together from all around the world to discuss this kind of things, to talk about the books and to get to know the authors and the topic of the books in such a way. I think having a book on your shelf is amazing, but being able to connect to the people who wrote it is something completely different. And I'm thankful for Professor Qiao and Dr. Xiao for joining us today. Just before I forget, in the end, we will put the links to buy the book here, and I will say it again then. I'm saying it also now. Buying the book really supports the authors and the publishers in producing more of those books. And I know there is plan for a second and hopefully third book. So your support in this is really, it really means a lot. So I'm really privileged to welcome these two extraordinary and interesting practitioners who dedicated their lives to advancing our knowledge of Chinese medicine. We have Professor Qiao, and please forgive me if I mispronounce your names. That's why I try to avoid saying Zhang Zhongjing, because I know you're going to say it correctly, and I really embarrassed for my Chinese. Professor Cao is bringing 45 years of experience to our field. And he's a professor at Viscera University, do I say this one correctly at least? And co-founder of its acupuncture and oriental medicine program. And through this, he has really helped to shape the education of this Chinese medicine in the West. His dedication to Zhang Zhongjing medical classic highlights his passion for blending ancient wisdom with contemporary medicine. And today we are here, and I don't think Zhang Zhongjing could have believed that we will be sitting here, people from 4 or 5 continents, talking about his books like this. And joining with him is Dr. Xiao, faculty member at Peste University and highly experienced acupuncturist who bring a lot of clinical experience. And together they bring a very unique perspective to acupuncture or Chinese medicine in general, and blending historical depths with clinical relevance and modern stuff. And I think we can all learn something today. I personally love history, and I'm quite jealous that you guys can combine these two beautiful things, which is Chinese medicine and history. And I say it in the name of all of us. We are very thankful that you come today to talk with us about your book. So welcome.
Okay, so Dr. Qiao and I.
Hi everyone. I am so welcome to our main presentations. It's very interesting the things. One's the history of Dunhuang, another's very interesting Zhang Zhongjing, and as the guy said, Zhang Zhongjing cannot believe, thousands of years later in America, we can present his, the books in here. So, welcome to here. We're going to start it, okay? I'll pass to Dr. Xiao.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming during this weekend. So Dr. Qiao started the research in about 2011, and I have the pleasure to join him around 2018. So everyone can see the slide sharing, right? So all of our researches are mostly from online, from database, also from published books. So I never seen any manuscripts in person, like before. So last summer, actually, I was able to follow the steps of how the Wu Zang Lun evolves in history, visited the British Library and the National Library of France to see these precious manuscripts in person. It was a very magical moment for me that, especially in France, they have like huge like windows, from the, like the floor to the ceilings. And that day, the weather was so nice, the sunshine, just like pouring to the reading room. So like in front of me are 1,000 years of old manuscripts that we researched for, Dr. Qiao has researched for decades, I researched for 6 7 years. So that was a kind of like a really magical moment for me to have this dialogue or like kind of talk with, those manuscripts from thousands years ago. So here today, let's follow the path of the Wu Zang Lun that from the Dunhuang to Tokyo, that let's rediscovering Zhang Zhongjing's lost legacy. So this is Dunhuang. A lot of people heard about Dunhuang. So it is a very important city on the Silk Road. The Dunhuang is also surrounded by desert. It is a major center for Buddhism. So just 16 miles from the center of Dunhuang, there are the Mogao caves. So in the picture, you see that those are Mogao caves. You see here not only that big building over there, but also there are a lot of like tiny little holes in there. So those are little temples. So this is also called Thousand Buddha Grottos. In Mogao caves, there are actually 500 temples that many Buddhist monks that they practice there. So Dunhuang is not only famous for its being the center of the Buddhism, it's also because there is a person and his discovery. So in 1900, May 26, there was two shadows in the night. There was two shadows cautiously made their way to a sealed wall. There was a tall guy held an oil lamp, and a short guy, he held a pickaxe. Suddenly, that short guy struck the wall with the pickaxe, revealed a hidden chamber behind the wall. So the short guy, his name is Wang Yuanlu. People know him as Wang Daoshi. He is a Taoist monk. The taller guy is Mr. Yang. He is a bookkeeper of Wang Yuanlu. So Wang Yuanlu, the Taoist monk Wang Daoshi, also known as Wang Daoshi, he born very poorly in the countryside of China. So later he joined the army, and after the army, he wants to make a living. In order to make a living, he becomes a Taoist priest. Though actually Wang Yuanlu does not have much education, but he actually loved a book called Journey to the West. I don't know how many people knows about this book. It is a book or novel wrote by Wu Cheng'en. It's very famous in China. They have like TV soap opera, for this book. So in this book, a monk called Tang Xuanzang, he is in Tang Dynasty. So he has 3 disciples, like a piglet and like a monkey kings. They all have superpowers, help or guard the Tang Xuanzang from China all the way to India to get the Buddhism scriptures from India and fetched back to Tang Dynasty, China. So that actually he was able to spread the knowledge or like Buddhism in China at that time. Even actually, Dunhuang, we just mentioned about the Dunhuang, because it's on the way of Silk Road, right? Tang Xuanzang, he actually, went there several times, to rest there, as a stop. So Wang Daoshi, he admires Xuanzang. So he wants to also follow Xuanzang's steps. Like originally he was from Hubei, like China, like where is it, like a middle part of China, middle of China. So like Dunhuang, actually it is the west part of China. So he follows his step from the middle of China all the way walk to the west part of China. And then he really tries to actually found that so-called Western Pure Land, or you call it Sukhavati. On the way like to India, he stopped at Dunhuang. There was an occasion that happened that we mentioned in the first chapter of the book. You can read that. So because of that occasion, that he decided actually he wanted to settle in Dunhuang instead of going even west. So when he settled in Dunhuang, like we talked about, the Dunhuang is a Buddhist place, right? Buddhist center. But he is a Taoist, actually was able to set a temple, like Taoist temple, in Dunhuang. So then kind of like we happened the scene we mentioned before. So and that day, that morning, May 26, 1900, that day, Mr. Yang, he smokes the smoke pipe. So as usual, he lit the pipe with a long stalk of grass. So after he lit the pipe, because the grass is really long, he can reuse it. So what he did was that he put the stalk of the grass back into a crack over the wall behind him. So that day, when he put back the stalk of the grass back to on the wall, on the crack of the wall, actually the grass cannot touch the bottom. So it's like, wow, something must be behind that. So Mr. Yang reported this finding to Wang Daoshi. So that night, they went to that site, and then they found a cave behind that wall. See here, this is on the left side. This is not like the library, okay? So this is where actually they work, or the Taoist temple. So this is, you see here, that's the wall actually they struck. Here is number 17. So number 17 actually is that hidden, we call the hidden library. So inside, when they struck the wall, opened the wall, they found thousands of like scrolls, manuscripts inside this little cave. In the little cave, there is a statue. The statue, see here also, there are some like depicts on the wall. Okay, see here. So it's very beautifully drawn picture on the wall. So during the wall before this is an image hall. This is an image hall. We call image hall. So what is an image hall? The image hall is that people try to memorize. Is a place for people to memorize a revered monk after the monk died. It's a very popular practice in Tang Dynasty. So later during the war, like some people actually get into this cave and then put all these like manuscripts into the cave where it is image hall for this monk. We can actually, from the research, we think, the event that people put in those manuscripts, those scrolls, should be back into at least 1,000 years ago. So after Wang Yuanlu, Wang Daoshi, he found those manuscripts and scrolls. He wanted, like these things to be placed in a better place. So during the 7 years, he went to the local officials, like went to different places really to ask people, ask officials that, like, please, kind of like, can you send some people to here and then take a look at these manuscripts? And then also, like, can you send people to kind of get those manuscripts to a better place to store instead of in this little caves? But he also even, his effort is, he also kind of wrote a letter to the Empress Dowager Cixi at that time, pleading for attention for his discovery. But at that time, Qing Dynasty was really in a chaos, not only domestically, but also from abroad. So no one really cares about these, like these manuscripts from, northwest, like part of a little town. So no one really cares about it. But at the same time, same place, there was a very major archaeological findings that caught people's eyes. So that is the Bao manuscript. So in the 1890s, British officer Hamilton Bower acquired the manuscript in Xinjiang, northwest of China. That's the very similar place from Dunhuang. It's a text consisted of 56 birch bark leaves, written in Sanskrit, and detailing lost Ayurvedic knowledge. So really, like after the discovery of the Bower manuscript, it sparked a global academic interest, leading to expedition by the nations like Britain and France. Among these explorers, two explorers had direct connections with our topic today. One is an Hungarian-British archaeologist named Oriel Stein. The other one is a French sinologist, Paul Pelliot. So part of the Stein, Oriel Stein from England, his collections is stored in the British Library. So that is the British Library. I took the picture last summer. This is the picture of Sir Oriel Stein. So Sir Oriel Stein, when he went 1907. So remember that Wang Daoshi, he discovered the hidden library in 1900. 7 years later, Oriel Stein, he arrived in Dunhuang. He brought a book with him at that time. The book's name was Records of the Western Region, which actually represents the details of Tang Xuanzang's 19 years journey from Tang Dynasty China through the western region of China to India and back to China during the mid-17th century. So he is also a fan of Tang Xuanzang. But he knows Tang Xuanzang from the book Records of the Western Region. Taoist monk Wang Yuanlu, Wang Daoshi, how he knows Xuanzang was from that book from Wu Cheng'en, right? Journal to the West, and with the piglets and the monkey kings. despite, they're like the difference, the knowledge of difference, but they really connect. They really connect because of the admiration of the Tang Xuanzang. So Wang Daoshi, after 7 years of trying, to persuade officials to, come take care of those treasures, no one really cares. Then now, Stein, as a Westerner, came to this site, and he thinks, and also because of the admiration of Xuanzang, really, Wang Daoshi thought, like maybe Stein is the one that they're dispatched from the Western region or Western Pure Land to fetch those scrolls back to the India or Western region. So Wang Daoshi later opened the door for Sir Orestein. So in the evening of May 23rd, 1907, Wang Yuanlu guided Stein to the library cave, unveiling a room packed from floor to the ceiling with ancient scrolls and manuscripts. And Stein was left speechless by the sheer magnitude of the discovery. That night, Wang Yuanlu opened the doors of the hidden library to Stein, granting him access to what would become one of the most significant archaeological treasures of the 20th century. So see here, this picture was published by Stein. So you see, actually, here, it's a combination of two pictures. These scriptures, those scrolls should not be there. It should be in the library, hidden library. But of course, he wants people to understand more about what it's about from just one picture. So that's probably why he combined two pictures together into one picture. So Orestein, after he enters into the hidden library, he brought a lot of scrolls back to England. So one of the manuscript or scrolls he brought back to England is this name, cataloged as S5614. So on this 5614, if anyone can read Chinese, you can see on this right side, it said Wu Zang Lun 一卷, one volume of Wu Zang Lun, Zhang Zhongjing 传, see, wrote by Zhang Zhongjing. Okay, so it clearly stated that this is the Wu Zang Lun. It connected, but it's the first time that connects the Wu Zang Lun, this book, with the name Zhang Zhongjing. So, people might think, maybe someone, used Zhang Zhongjing's name to write on that. It's very common practice, of course, as a scholar, we also want to be rigorous in our scholarship, research. So, kind of like, there's also a question in our mind. Is this, really kind of Zhang Zhongjing and Wu Zang Lun linked together? Is also, this is, a book from Zhang Zhongjing. So, like from the last summer, I went to the British Library to really see this collection. This is digitalized, high definition digitalized by Dunhuang project. At the library, it's a very hard. It's not really easy to just I go there, I just can see this. It's not like that. You have to write to the curator, to tell them what's the reason, because like the high resolution digitalized pictures already online, what's the reason that you want to see it, right? So I have to explain my reasons to the curators, and then the curators met me in the reading room, and the curator asked me, it's like, have you ever kind of handled any manuscript, ancient like a manuscript before? I was like, no. It's like, okay. So, she gave me a brief training, how to handle it. So it's like, you need to wash your hands first, blah, blah, blah. So, and I asked her, it's like, should I use, like, of course, from the TV, right? It's like, we always see, people, have their, white gloves, like when you're handling those precious things. So I asked her, should I wear gloves? And she said, like, no, you should not, because they're so fragile, like the gloves will make the sensation of your, like, much less, right, of your hands, much less. So, when you in case you did some damage, on the manuscript, you will not know. So, it's interesting to know. So basically, I went out, wash my hand, and then come back, sit there and kind of face to face with this manuscript. It's a pamphlet. You see here, it's a pamphlet. They actually they repaired this manuscript. So and then let's see. So after my trip to London, then I took the train to France. So see here, this is a very famous reading room called the Oval Room. Some people might notice or like recognize it from the opening ceremony of the Paris Olympic last year. It was a very beautiful reading room, but it was not the place that I saw the French collection of the Wu Zang Lun manuscript. So the reading room of the Chinese old ancient manuscript was on the second floor of the National Library of France. So I went to the second floor, and they handed me a box that had 3 scrolls in it. So they said, okay, you can take one each time, after you read it, after you kind of do whatever it's like, of course, carefully, you give us back, and then you can get the second one. So, and that's what I did that afternoon. And also, I also need to wrote to the curator about, why I need to see it in person. But, they're very nice. The curators also, saw me in person and even asked me, it's like, do you need it tomorrow? We can keep it tomorrow for you as well. So it was a very nice experience. So I took some videos and some pictures, and it was very nice. So here we talked about all these Dunhuang collections was from Pelliot, Paul Pelliot's his expedition to Dunhuang. Paul Pelliot, he is a very talented sinologist. He's a very talented sinologist. Like how many languages he really mastered? From our research, at least 13 languages, including French, Chinese, Tibetan, Uyghur, Mongolian, Sanskrit, Pali, Persian, Arabic, Turkish, Manchu, Japanese, Korean. That's like, he's a really talented guy. That's why actually he can go to Dunhuang, and then later you will see what he did over there in the hidden library. So Pelliot is regarded like probably the most important person in the history of sinology. As you see, it was said that without Pelliot, sinology would be like an orphan without parents, lacking a solid foundation and support. See here, this is a very, probably most famous picture of him in the hidden library. You see at the background, there are kind of mountains of scrolls. It was 1908, 1 year after Stein went to Dunhuang. So Paul Pelliot from France, he went to Dunhuang. You see that the Paul Pelliot, it's like just a year after, Aura is like he went to Dunhuang. When the doors of the legendary site opens, Pelliot was struck with awe at the sight of the ancient manuscripts. For 3 weeks, he immersed himself in studying the texts. He's so captivated by their boundless allure in the sacred seclusion of the library. He worked tirelessly, often pushing his physical limits to the brink of collapse as he navigated this vast ocean of knowledge. In 3 weeks, he sifted through over 15,000 manuscripts. He said it is proudly, it is absolutely impossible that there are any scrolls in this cave that I haven't examined. Because he knows like more than 13 languages. He really knows what he's talking about. So he was really picking the best stuff, from the cave. Probably, like all around the world, like he is the only one that has ever examined all the scripts in this cave at that time. Paleo, he also has a very good habit. He likes to write diary. So in his diary, he recorded that on March 14th, 1908, the 12th day of his work, inside the hidden library, he uncovered a manuscript titled, it's called 穷诈辩惑论打井迷论. It's a Buddhism scripture. So later, like many years later, right, 1985, the reverse side. So it's a front side is the Buddhism manuscript, like the scripture. So the reverse side of the document was then identified as a fragment of Zhang Zhongjing's Wu Zang Lun, which was later cataloged as P2115E. So, like just mentioned, P means Peliot. Before we have like S is Stein. So England, you will see the catalog number like S5614 S is Stein. Okay, P.2015, P means Peliot. V means it's the backside of a squirrel. Okay, so see here, 2115. This is the front side. 穷诈 if anyone knows in Chinese, this is said 穷诈辩惑论卷下打井迷论. So this is the Buddhist scripture. This is the front side. And then you can see the back side. You see here, actually, it's under different lightings. So, like you don't see this from the previous one. You don't really see the back side of the previous one, this one. But actually, from this lighting, you can see this is the back side. Okay, see here? This said 五藏论一卷, like 五藏论, 1 volume 五藏论. The author is Zhang Zhongjing. So another one, see here? Another one linked Wu Zang Lun with Zhang Zhongjing. This is the P2115V. This edition of Zhang Zhongjing's Wu Zang Lun is so far the most complete version that found in Dunhuang. So in Peleo's diary, there's another recording said the following day on March 15th, 1908, the 13th day, Peleo discovered what he refers to as his notes as an anonymous medical manuscript, which means like you don't know who wrote it, you don't know what's the name of it, like nothing. Although he could not identify the author given the rarity of the medical related text in the hidden library, scholars later speculated that this may have been another version of Zhang Zhongjing's Wu Zang Lun, later categorized P2755V. So let me show you. So this is the 2755V, another version of Zhang Zhongjing Wu Zang Lun. So this is mostly, about herbs, how you use herbs, like these things, the application of herbs. So there's no name, there's no author. Yeah, so he said here, this is the end of this manuscript. There's no name, nothing. So that's why, kind of this edition, P2755V, it has kind of several identities, right? It's like, before, the Peleo said is an anonymous medical manuscript. And then later, Yuan Tongli, another scholar in China, named this fragment as like verses on medicinal properties. with anonymous author. But later, Luo Fuyi, a Chinese scholar, he through the British edition of Wu Zang Lun, 5614, and then compared them together. He made a decisive determination for these three. So another one is 2378, you will see later. These three editions are all confirmed as different versions of Zhang Zhongjing's Wu Zang Lun. So far, we connected the three editions of Zhang Zhongjing's Wu Zang Lun together. Here it is. Another, that's 2378. Okay, that's 2378, another edition. See here, they have Wu Zang Luan Yi Juan. That side, Wu Zang Luan Yi Juan, but there is no author. Okay, so see here today, the National Library of France houses three versions of Zhang Zhongjing's Wu Zang Lun. So namely these. So this is a picture I took, like the librarian. She's very nice at the end of the day, like maybe 5 o'clock at that day. Still very sunshiny, but the library has to close, and this is 2115. It's a big scroll. That's the most complete scroll. That's the most complete version of Zhang Zhongjing Wu Zang Lun. So that scroll take me a lot of time to open it up, take videos, take pictures. And then at the end of the day, I supposed to leave, right? But it really takes a lot to picture to put it back. So the librarian, she's nice enough that helped me to do that. So this is the French version. So the French collection of the Zhang Zhongjing Wu Zang Lun. So now we change to another place, Russia. So this picture is the Institute of Oriental Studies of Russian Academy of Science. That's a very long name. But why we talk about Russia? I don't have the opportunity to visit Russia yet. But there's another version of Zhang Zhongjing's Wu Zang Lun collected there. Russia actually, it is in St. Petersburg. Russia actually has from the expeditions, like those people that also went to Dunhuang to fetch the manuscripts. Russia has about 20,000 pieces so far collected from the Dunhuang. From Dunhuang. Most of them, interestingly, are fragments. And those manuscripts, scrolls, or kind of the things or documents, those are not made published until after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. So here we have a picture that in 2000. Yeah, 2000s. It's the picture on the left side. That was in 2011. Dr. Qiao actually visited Shanxi University of Chinese Medicine, and also he went to Dunhuang at that time as well. So the Li Yingcun, he's a professor over there in Shanxi University of Chinese Medicine. He also is an author, like he published a book, that Dr. Qiao was holding on his hand, called a synopsis of Dunhuang medical document in Russia. So he really studied the Dunhuang documents, especially the Russia collected Dunhuang documents. So later you will see here, let me show you this document. See here on the left side, this is also the back side. The Zhang Zhongjing Wu Zang is also on the back side. The front side is also a Buddhism scripture. So see here on the left side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Only 9 lines of this fragment. Li Yingcun, Professor Li Yingcun, he was able to actually analyze it and then compare it with the line 9 to 15 of the Wu Zang Lun in French collection P2115V, and the line 8 to 14 of the version in the British collection S5614. Compare these two with the Russian version, this fragment. And then he said, oh, I see. He confirmed that the Russian manuscript represents yet another version of Zhang Zhongjing's Wu Zang Lun. How amazing it is. He is able to just that little piece, he's able to recognize this is a part of like Zhang Zhongjing's Wu Zang Lun. So, really, this admires those scholars, that their diligent work. Okay, so now let's go to see, like from now, it's like, okay, we're already talking about a lot of Zhang Zhongjing Wu Zang Lun, Zhang Zhongjing Wu Zang Lun. So people, I know, like most of people actually sign up today is like are very curious about like, wow, it's like Zhang Zhongjing has Wu Zang Lun, really? Like I've never heard about Wu Zang Lun, right? Most people heard about these two names, Shanghan Lun, Treatise on Cold Damage Disorder, and another called Essential Prescriptions from the Golden Cabinet, 金匮要略. So together is 伤寒杂病论. But actually, Zhang Zhongjing has many other books. See here. Zhang Zhongjing has formulas for gynecological disorders, Zhang Zhongjing's formula, Zhang Zhongjing's treatise on treating the yellow, Zhang Zhongjing's theories of mouth and tooth, Zhang Zhongjing's discussion about diseases, essential formula. So he's actually a productive author, but but the thing is that all these above Zhang Zhongjing's book are lost in the history. Only now Zhang Zhongjing's Viscera Theory, Wu Zang Lun, is still here that we are able to see. So to date, there are 5 versions of Zhang Zhongjing's Wu Zang Lun have been identified among the Dunhuang manuscripts, preserved in 3 major institutions: National Library France in Paris, British Library in London, and the Institute of Oriental Studies of the Russian Academy of Science in St. Petersburg. So far, we have 5 versions discovered in Dunhuang. So now let's see. Okay, see here, we like there was like from Dunhuang, there's a picture, right? We see from Dunhuang, we have 3 places collected this Dunhuang manuscript. One is in Paris, one is in London, and the other is in St. Petersburg. As people know, Zhang Zhongjing, he is from Nanyang. Where is Nanyang? Denzhou, Nanyang. So it's here. If you can see, this is here. How Zhang Zhongjing's work or book could be from Nanyang, travel all the way to Dunhuang. Have you ever think about why it's not the same place? It's also at old time it's very hard to actually travel from place to place. How his book can be like from his or theories can be from found from like in Dunhuang, which is far from his hometown Denzhou. So that we have to mention a monk, a person that you might see it, right? Like at the beginning of our presentation, we showed you that image hall, that inside the image hall, there was a statue. The statue, he is Wu Hongbian, monk Wu Hongbian. Okay, Hongbian. So he is here, it's like he's actually a high monk in Dunhuang region. His mom's surname was Zhang, Z-H-A-N-G. Zhang, right? Zhang Zhongjing's surname is also Zhang. So there belongs to the same surname. It's the same family. So actually originally a branch of the Zhang family, they're prestigious Zhang family in the Nanyang. So one branch of Zhang family actually migrated from Nanyang to Dunhuang. So very possibly, Wu Hongbian's mom brought Zhang Zhongjing's book to Dunhuang at that time. Also, in the hidden library, see here that so why it's in his image hall, like Wu Hongbian's image hall. So Wu Hongbian, he's not only a monk. You see here at the back, there's some depicts, like on our left side, our left side, there's a satchel, and also the other side is a medicine bottle. So, kind of like he's not only a monk, but also he also teach the local monk physicians, about Chinese medicine. He has actually two successors, very famous successors locally. He has two successors. One's name is Zhai Farong, the other one is called Suo Chongen. These two people actually was later actually recognized as the medicine king. So, like think about how about their teacher, like Wu Hongbian, right? How about our teacher? If the teacher's apprentice was named later, recognized as medicine king, the teacher must be really, really good at medicine as well. So at that time, so that could be, like those scriptures, manuscripts, like that you see here, most of them are on the reverse side of Buddhism suture. So that's why, people at that time, the paper are very expensive or rare to get it. So people want to, don't waste them, right? So so that's why, people kind of like write on the back side of the suture or like scriptures of Buddhism scriptures, so that they're able to carry around or learn, study it or memorize it. So here another version. So kind of Zhang Zhongjing's Wu Zang Lun. So far we talk about all the versions are from Dunhuang, right? But in 1951. Fan Xingzhen is the first scholar, that's another scholar, to connect the P2755, the French collection, with the Wu Zang Lun in categorized collection of medical formula, Yifang Leiju. In 1964, there is a Japanese scholar, Saburo, compared three Dunhuang manuscripts with the Wu Zang Lun from the Koreans categorized collections of medical formula and linked these together, said Zhang Zhongjing's Wu Zang Lun from the Dunhuang and also like found in the categorized collection of medical formula. That both might be the same medical text, named the historically lost Wu Zang Lun of Zhang Zhongjing. So here, 一方类聚, it's here. You can see 五脏论. This is from 一方类聚, the categorized collection of medical formula edition from Korea. So 一方, like why, kind of like why the 五脏论now it's also in Korea. The 一方类聚, it is a monumental Korean medical book that they recorded 153 medical books. 153. It's a huge medical book. 152 of them are from China. Interestingly, in this book, in this Yifang Leiju, this huge book, they do not record any author name. There's no author name, but they categorize that or sequencing the book. So that's it's a collection of books, right? So they sequencing the book according to the year, the time that the book was wrote and the author. They don't really record the author name, but they sequencing it according to the time and the author. So Wu Zang Lun in this huge Korean book was actually in between Zhang Zhongjing's other books, Shanghan Lun and Jingui Yao Lu. That is in between Zhang Zhongjing's other two books. So, that's another reason that we think, yeah, that is probably Zhang Zhongjing's work. So, as we said, why? Like the Dunhuang, like Zhang Zhongjing's Wu Zang Lun, we found in Dunhuang, then why? It's like, okay, it's in Korea as well. So at that time, Korea's name is Goryeo, okay, Goryeo. So in the history of Goryeo, that's also an extensive historical records of the Goryeo dynasty. So recorded that in the 12th year, it's like of the King Munjong's reign. So that's 1058. And Goryeo received the 7 classic Chinese medical works. These include, see here, the Yellow Emperor's Canon of 81 Difficult Issues. A lot of people might have heard about this. Treatise on cold damage disorder, Shang Lun, and also summarization of essentials of Materia Medica, Child's etiology of the children's disease, 18 discussions of the medication, symptoms, and causes of pediatric diseases, and see here, Zhang Zhongjing's Viscera Theory, Zhang Zhongjing Wu Zang Lun. See here in the picture it said, there is Zhang Zhongjing Wu Zang Lun, yeah, crafted on 99 wood blocks from the Song era. These texts were revered as invaluable cultural assets and were carefully preserved in Imperial Archive of Goryeo. So it said 招致密阁. 招致密阁 is like means, it was later preserved in the Imperial Archive of Goryeo. So here, at that time, the 99 wood blocks, it's like, it's not like those movable wood blocks. Those are like crafted in one entire block that is considered the most advanced, actually, the most advanced printing technology at that time, just like AI in these times. So these are considered as very precious gifts from the Song dynasty to Korea. Another book also recorded this event called the Supplemented Documents for Reference. Same, they recorded the Korea received the Zhang Zhongjing Wu Zang Lun, 99 wood blocks, and then later stored in the royal library. So interestingly, think about it. So here, like, okay, like we have 5 editions in Dunhuang, and then now we have another edition in Korea, Kaesong, at that time, the capital city called Kaesong in Korea. Then how these like Zhang Zhongjing's work go through China and to Korea? And most people will say, oh yeah, that's easy. China has, like a connection, connected like on the land, right? No, you just go, through the land to Korea. Actually, it is not that case. At that time, that it's the Song dynasty. The time that, the event that gift the 99 wood blocks to Korea, that was during the South Song dynasty. So that we have North Song dynasty and South Song dynasty, right? The capital city of the North Song dynasty is Bianjing or Kaifeng at that time. So now here, the South Song dynasty, their capital is called Lingan or Hangzhou in this time, like in modern days we call Hangzhou. So it's here you can see on the map. So on that during that time, the border of China was not, with Russia. The border of China actually it's far more south, far more south. Like in northern border at that time was called Liao, and then later the Liao was conquered by Jing. So the border was actually blocked by those 2 dynasties. So people at the time, like in South Song dynasty, you're not able to kind of just go through the northern border and then go to Korea. It's not possible. So like then, how do you do that? So actually the only time at that time, the only possibility at that time, you're able to go from the Ling'an, the capital city of South Song Dynasty, was actually you go from the water, from the ocean, water route. Okay. So, like exactly how they don't go, because, kind of like a Ling'an is here, almost close to, the water. And then kind of like, but, is it that a case from the Ling'an to Korea, Kaesong at time? Let's think about it. Let's think about it. Later, actually, now we jump to another version. There is another version later found, actually, in Zhejiang, China. So there are two accounts regarding the discovery time and origins of the Zhejiang version. See here, like we have 5 versions, discovered in Dunhuang, 1 version from Russia, collected like Dunhuang, like, they're in Russia, France, and Britain. And then later we discovered the Korea version, right? And then now we talk about, oh, there another version found in Zhejiang, China, and more Chinese, like a Zhang Zhongjing, Wu Zang Lun. So see here, there are 2 accounts. Like the first account come from like there's scholar Chen Yongzhi of Dama Township Medical Center in Tongxiang County. So he published an article titled Manuscript Copies of Zhang Zhongjing's Wu Zang Lun and their comparison with foreign collection. And then 4 years later, another one, Chu Jingxiang from the same medical center, also published an article talking about find this Zhang Zhongjing's Wu Zang Lun. And also it said this book was transcribed from the family tree of Qinghe. Family tree of Qinghe, this book actually is the family tree of the Zhang family. So Zhang family, again, we talked about the Zhang family. So interesting. So why, like we found another them in Zhejiang, China. It's like, so that's where we're thinking. It's like, okay, from our research, there are 2 possibilities, right? One is that you see here, let's see, goes to the picture so that you might be understanding more. So we talked about the Zhang Zhongjing was from Denzhou, right? Denzhou. So one possibility is that one branch of the Zhang Zhongjing's family migrated from Denzhou later, actually, to Ling'an, Hangzhou, from to here. Okay, and then also at that time, when the North Song Dynasty changing to South Song Dynasty, the capital actually changed from Bianjing goes to Ling'an. So these 2 possibilities, when the Song Dynasty they changed the capital moved the capital from Bianjing to Ling'an, they also brought the royal archives, the books, to Ling'an as well. So that's 2 possibilities, right? There's from Denzhou could be go to Ling'an, and from Bianjing, the North Song are like a royal archive could also go to Ling'an. Okay, that's why we think that's a possibility. That's why kind of like the Zhejiang edition was there is the Zhejiang edition that appears. So in the photo, this is called Tianyige. That is the biggest private library in China at that time. You see, this is the modern one, so they repaired it, and then this is the old one. And at that time, it looks like that. And this is how those manuscript, the books were stored over there. Okay, so you can see that. So that time, see here, we say like people, like either two possibilities, the Zhang family from Denzhou to Ling'an, or the royal libraries moved to Ling'an. But actually that time, Ling'an was not a port that kind of transport the manuscript out or do any commercial or do any transportations, communications with the Korea. Actually, Quanzhou at that time, so just a little bit south from the Ling'an, Quanzhou at that time was the most important port at that time to connect Song Dynasty with the other countries. So very possibly it is, from the Quanzhou that they transported these 99 wood blocks to Korea. That was recorded historically. Actually, at that time, interestingly, because at that time in Song Dynasty, because the political tension between Song Dynasty, South Song Dynasty, and Korea are very unstable. So the royal or the empire, the royal families, they're not able to communicate or do any culture exchange through officially. So they have to kind of like do this kind of like a culture exchange through commercials or through kind of just common people. So there is a businessman, actually the surname is Huang. So that is probably the most prominent businessman at that time. So he was the one that actually brought these 99 wood blocks from Quanzhou and all the way goes to Korea. Okay, so now our map is like almost finished, right? So complete. But there's also another one here. See here? We don't have any route there yet. So this is the Tokyo edition. So see here, this is Tokyo edition. Most people actually researched Wu Zang Lun. They know there's a Japanese edition of Wu Zang Lun, but they don't know that where it is. But Dr. Qiao, after his research, he found that this edition is now in Waseda University Library in Japan. So Taki family, that is the family that is the Taki brother. They used as like before during the war, Japanese general. So he brought the Korean version, the Korean categorized collection of medical formula, that big book, to Japan as spoils of war. And then later, the Taki brothers used this correction to restore 13 lost Chinese medical works. So at that time, among the 152 Chinese medical texts cited in the categorized collection of medical formulas, there were actually 35 original works have been lost in China, and the status of 2 works was unknown. So it was a huge help on that Taki family that they were able to restore at least 13 lost Chinese medical works, so that nowadays we're able to see these precious works. So just to conclude, there are 8 versions of Zhang Zhongjing's Wu Zang Lun, 5 versions found in Dunhuang, and 3 versions from the 3 collections. One is from Korea, collected, and one is from Zhejiang, China, and then the other one now is stored in Japan. So also here, so we completed this map. And then now we will have Dr. Charles to talk about this Zhang Zhongjing's Wu Zang Lun.
Yeah, time kind of short here. So what is the Zhang Zhongjing Wu Zang Lun? So we talking the name called Fan Xingzun, is a well-known Chinese scholar. And amazingly, you can remember that when he reading the piece of the paragraph, his brain can collecting them to the huge Korean, the medical cataracts, the medical book, together. And he is the first guy to study the Zhang Zhongjing Wu Zang Lun. He said, Zhang Zhongjing Wu Zang Lun is the primer for TCM practitioner. The Wu Zang Lun and serve as the most introductional textbook in the ancient China. So that's why you can see the monk Wu Hongbian, he copy another time, use Zhang Zhongjing Wu Zang Lun to teaching the Chinese medicine as you know that Zhang Zhongjing, we reading Zhang Zhongjing the book, Shanghai Lun is external and the infection, 金匮要律 is the internal injury. How can they study the Chinese medicine, just jump into the formula immediately? And Zhang Zhongjing said he had a teacher called Zhang Bozu, he learning. Zhang Zhongjing have the students called Wei Xun, he teaching. So there must have be the textbook as fundamentals can study. Actually, Zhang Zhongjing Wu Zang Lun is the first fundamental education book in the history of the Chinese medicines. So Zhang Zhongjing Wu Zang Lun divided into two sections. The first section is talking about the fundamentals theory and use the concept qi, so talking yin yang. The main concept is 5 elements. Use the 5 elements explaining human bodies and organs and everything, meridians, those diagnosis and treatment. The second section is very amazing, and he talking a lot of the herbs this area. From the Japanese copy or Korean copy, we can identify 123 herbs. And from the totally 8 books, it's about to 190 herbs I mentioned this area. Most of those herbs and very interesting, we still use nowadays. For examples, Ma Huang, as Shanghai Lun said, used for external infections, and for marijuana, canopy, and buds. In Shanghai Lun says used for constipation, but Wu Zang Lun say can use for people and seeing the ghost, meaning mentally crazy. And he mentioned a lot of pear herb, like Dunhuang, Ziwan, for cough, also famous formula, and the 八味地黄丸, 八味肾气丸, and another name in the 金匮要律 called 金匮肾气丸, actually is from the tree family. And also Wu Zang Lun is the first book recording how opioid into the China, and it's China import from the west, desert area. It's called Sirica, Sirica, those are the things, very interesting, reading the book, talking the histories. So we spent almost like, more than 10 years to research. We finished all the Zhang Zhongjing book. So as our book, we have 3 sections in our book: histories, combinations, explanations, and material medica. But we use the first publish for that book for people can introduce to the people quickly. Most importantly, you can see we had 8 versions of the, Zhang Zhongjing Wu Zang Lun. It's a side by side, the English and the Chinese translation, this area. You can see that area. It's very helpful. And another thing is we can see the books talking about humanities, the medicines, That's work of unique and a lens through which to appreciate the intersection of culture, medicine, and history. Thank you for coming to us, and we over a little bit of time. We can take any questions. Yeah.
Thank you, Harris, who says, I love your book and research. And Tina, who for your comments. So everybody who have their comments there, it's really great to have it. Anybody? Maybe it will make it easier. Gil, hi Gil, welcome. It's difficult to hear you, but I think we do.
Yeah. Question, sorry, eventually I mistyped it. Did Zhang Zhongjing write on the reverse side of the sutras because it was expensive, the material, the paper, the scrolls were expensive to have, or was it also a way of protecting the text because the sacred texts would be protected at that time?
Could be both actually. Of course, I think the most possibility is, of course, like those sutras. The manuscript was not wrote by Zhang Zhongjing himself. I think it's mostly the monk Wu Hongbian, the monk Wu Hongbian, or his disciples. They try to remember it, try to study it, so they kind of like write on the papers so they can study it. As Gil said, these could be two possibilities, both, right?
I have a research on the calligraphy in the back, and have an expert look at the calligraphy. It's not come from in the back of the writing. It's not come from one person. You know what I mean? Before I saw this come from Wu Hongbian himself. It's not from one person. It's many people wrote in the back. I kind of think the concepts that way. When possible is when Wu Hongbian teaching at the time, the other students give the homework, go back the copy and as the textbook. You remember that the textbook studied in China is the Song Dynasty, Song Yi, Lin Yi started have a real Shanghai textbook. That time we don't have a printing system. Everything just copy, by the brush, this area. So that's why not the seminar have a lot of mistakes, All the book different. So most possible is the copy by the monk when they study Zhang Zhongjing, Wu Zang Lun, because of very precious medical theory, so they use those very in the back of the Bible they keep with them.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
two both possibilities. I think those are all both are legit.
Yeah. Did that help?
Hi, guy, 对，感谢老师，感谢。
You're welcome. 不谢。
Okay, thank you for this actually very interesting question. I have a couple of other questions. So one is if the book includes picture of the manuscript.
In
your book, yeah. It's difficult to see with the.
Probably you cannot see it because it's yeah. In the book, we do actually has some of the manuscript that is actually it's at the end. We do have the pictures of the manuscripts that some I took from the British Library and the French National Library of France, and also one is Dr. Qiao actually bought the picture from the British Library. So we do have the picture at the end of the book.
That's
and
great.
Also, as the agreement, the Chinese, the French government, and the Chinese, the British government, and the Chinese, the Russian government, they have agreement to publish all of the Dunhuang project, come out. They do have, the officially published section were huge, but not very much.
Digitalized.
Yeah, or you can reading them, from the library, or you can find the digital online right now. Particularly, we have collection for those Japanese collections. You can looking for that. Yeah, digitalized. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all available online.
Yeah.
You can search for also Dunhuang Project.
Yeah.
There is a website called Dunhuang Project.
Yeah.
They also has highly digitalized copy there.
I have a very practical question in the chat that may be interesting for anybody who practice it. With what you learned from this book, how is this changing your approach to actual patient's care? Is this contributed something practical to your life?
That's what I mentioned. The Li Yingchun, the Gansu University the guys, and he did a lot of the clinical, the project this area. For example, very simple and care herb, using the Chinese medicine called 对药. He used one called 当归 and the 白枝 special use for, headaches, here, he have a research come out. Those just a simple question. But the more important, research, the herb is really good resource, a lot of good, particularly from Artemisia, Qing House will come out, and all those original texts give you really important resource for the area. So that's 100 and more than 100 herbs in this area is really value for study, for here.
Yeah.
The second is theory. When we learn the Chinese medicine fundamentals, we miss one part of the things. It's 天干地支 and also 5 and movement 6 qi. Here. I have a question. Why we talking 5 elements? And Zhang Zhongjing mentioned the Shanghai, why he uses 6 channels? Diagnose, why use a 6-channel diagnosis? You cannot connect them together. But Wu Zang Lun tell you they're not the 5 elements, not just stop in 5 elements. In advance to another theory called Wu Yun Liu Qi, is a 5 movement 6 qi. That's what's missing in the modern TCM practice. In China, currently want to put back them in the fundamentals. In the someday, America and will fundamentally put Wu Yun Liu Qi back in the fundamental training. And that's all come from the,
Hey,
and Wu Zang Lun talking the Wu Yun Liu Qi, but they introduced because very earlier, there's talking very briefly. Most were tracing back Wu Yun Liu Qi. We're talking about in the Neijing and Neijing chapter 7. They're talking more details here, but they're already connection Wu Yun Liu Qi in the Wu Zang Lun start at that time. Very important, So we cannot miss that part.
Yeah, we can see it.
because I cannot even read it, so I'm really afraid to even ask what Debo is asking. Does the Wu Zang Lun discuss the Wu Yun Liu Qi?
Yeah, that's the predated Tang Dynasty. The research is coming, the copy, the Dunhuang script is at least in the Sui and the Tang Dynasty, just a copy that one. But Wu Zang Lun, Shanghai, Zhang Zhongjing, Wu Zang Lun is more back to Han Dynasty. More back to that times. Here, And I also mentioned one more thing for herbs, and we all only know called 本草纲目, but actually 本草纲目 originally is the copy from the Chinese first official government official materia medica called 新修本草. This is the most important Chinese book, first to put a book together. But very interestingly, 新修本草 the material talking about herb is very similar to the Wu Zang Lun they're talking together. So 新修本草 is from Sui Dynasty, so that's really tracing back very far away. Here. That's not officially ancient time. We don't have a printing system. We all copy by hands. Which must have their ways. Here. The 孙思邈是千金药方千金药 is a lot of copy from Shanghai Lun. It's just, here, that's all things there. Yeah, good.
Gabriel, are you with us?
Yes, thank you for taking my question. My question originally is, are these the Wu Zang are associated with the 5 phases in each text? Are they different associations in each of the different texts? Hello?
You mean the 5 visceral 5 organs?
Or 5.
Yeah.
If you in the
我的问题是，如果那个乌行学说每一个章有配每一个那个星吗？
对in the Wu Zang Lun they mentioned 5 elements organ related 5 stars and in the sky they
但是
do.
但是
Yeah,
我的问题
very
是，每一
interesting.
本书是一样吗？或是每一本书有差别的意思？
是一样的. So it's the same, like the five organ systems mentioned in Wu Zang Lun actually is very similar as we study actually nowadays, the five viscera words, what's their functions, relations. Yeah,
Yes,
you
yes,
can
but
see.
my question is every different copy the same throughout,
Yeah.
or are there differences in each copy
So
of the
each
text
copy
of different
actually they
texts?
are the same. They are the same, but some copies are more complete. Some copies just one fragment. But and also they're not exactly the same. So Zhejiang copy, Yifang like the Korean copy and Japanese copy are the same. And then the Dunhuang's copy are very same. But Dunhuang's copy they have like fragments, they're like longer and shorter. So they are very, very similar. So you can, if you like almost same. So if you see the book, we have those translations and then also kind of like the English version, Chinese versions there. You can compare it. They're almost the same.
Okay, thank
Did we
you.
answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just trying to correlate because I had a discussion with Donald Harper years ago at Zhongying, and he mentioned that there were differences in the copies as far as the correlation of each phase to each organ in the different texts.
Some things a little bit different, you know what I mean? Each organ, each phases, it probably we can see in the book, we have explanation in this area. Yeah, the one things like some of the lung as the general, but modernly we said liver's general. We have explanation for the later from here because age in the book a little difference. Yeah, that's probably your questions. Yeah. But the 8th version of the Wu Zang Lun is quite same, you know what I mean? And not just by the Japanese research, Chinese research, we find that they are connecting together, sure, yeah. Very interesting. You can find those things in the Dunhuang that you find in the different, international different place. What are mostly they're similar, you know what I mean? It's very interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all for your questions. It's really lovely to see the discussion developing like this. It's and you taking the time to answer all the questions. My question is maybe more practical. What's going to be the second book? What is it going to be about, actually? Because you are planning a second book.
We have a first book already complete. Everything's inside. When we bring to the publishers, it's very difficult to the people edit that book. You need people know the herbs, you need the Chinese medicine, you need people know the Dunhuang. And we are cutting the section. So second book is our explanation to explain what is called the Wu Zang Lun, textbook, sentence by sentence explanation. Like nowadays we study Shanghai Lun, you know what I mean, sentence by explain. That's why the second book. Third book maybe will come out as all detailed research, by all the herb formula together. You know what I mean? Here, those are our plan. There's quite a things need to do, and but we are, that's our plan.
Wonderful. So that we have something to look forward for. And
Well, we have a lot of something to do.
yeah. So let us know when the second book is coming, and we would love to host you again to hear more about this fascinating
Thank
stuff.
you for hosting, and I really appreciate that. Yeah.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you for all of the people coming. You got holding here, you know what I mean? No one, most we have a lecture, some people are halfway or go away, but it's still holding for, you know what I mean? There's so much people, so we really appreciate it. Thank you very much.